Hey guys, I am coming back from just a small break, vacation with my wife, celebrating 28 years of marriage. It's been an amazing week. Trying to take some downtime. I wasn't online a whole lot. Actually, didn't open my laptop a great deal at all, and just sort of taking a couple of days in Albuquerque at my son's house, and then heading back to Austin for a period of time before my next big run of travel. And during the week that we were gone, learned of General Colin Powell's passing, and former Secretary of State, and just kind of an amazing all around human. And I had a few people reach out to me because some of the things they've heard me speak about over the years, I've mentioned a story that I'll share here in just a second about him and seeing him speak and just how impressed I was when I saw him probably around 2009. I'd taken my team at the time. I was working for a CEO of a email security company. I took my team to this event because I thought that they could get a lot of benefit from a lot of the speakers, but one that definitely stood out from kind of this success seminar, if you will, was General Colin Powell. And he was talking about, recently had, left the position as Secretary of State, and he was adjusting to civilian life at the time. And he was just so incredible. There was no politics. There was no, cutting down the other side, who was in the office now, etc. Just a really gregarious, really fun speaker to watch, and just really personable from the stage. And I really just got sucked in because I was so impressed with his approach and how he went about it. But, one of the things that he was talking about, the thing that I really liked, was, he said that it was quite a transition. You're Secretary of State one day, then you step down and leave that position, and you're accustomed to people picking you up and driving you everywhere, and now all of a sudden you have to do all that stuff yourself. And it was a big it was a big adjustment. He said the thing that he missed the most at that time was actually the jet. he missed the airplane that the Secretary of State is able to commandeer and take all over the world. And so now he was, relegated to, flying with the rest of us at that time. Although I suspect he probably wasn't flying with the rest of us. But anyway, during this speech that he gave, I was super impressed because he told this story about why every employee is important. And this is something I have told for years because I believe that culture starts from the top, right? If you're a business leader, you're committed to creating a culture of customer service, respect, innovation, creativity, that requires people to get along and connect. And it ties very closely into what I talk about with Ripple and why I'm so passionate about this concept. Getting people to put these things down and have a conversation face to face and engage is super, super critical and important. And one of my passions, why I do what I do. And Colin Powell told this story about when he was Secretary of the State. He noticed every day he drove in, he was dropped off, and they would come in through the parking garage, and he'd have his own special elevator to get to the floor that he was on. And he noticed these guys that were working sort of the parking, I would say the parking structure, the booth, the parking booth. And he would always wave at them and always smile. And he made a point of doing it. One day he was thinking to himself while he's sitting in his office, those guys are down there all day long, and wonder what that job is like. Here's the Secretary of State, dealing with issues of the day at a magnitude that probably most of us could not comprehend, and yet he's worried about how those guys in the parking garage, how their day is going. And so he decides he wants to go down there and talk to them. And but the thing is, as Secretary of State, you have security detail, and he's like, I don't want to go down there with my security detail. It's like a big ordeal. It's like, why are you doing it? And blah blah blah. And he said, so the first mission he had was he had to ditch the security detail. And these guys, posted outside of his office. He'd get up, go to the restroom or something. Yeah, so he said, right? I would assume the Secretary of State probably has an executive bathroom, but whatever. He decides he's going to leave the office, and He tells these guys, hey, I'm going to walk down the hall and go to the restroom. Like, okay, sir, we're following you. No, you need to stay here. I am perfectly capable of going to the bathroom by myself. And this, of course, got a big, laugh from the audience as he was telling it. And, you had one security guy like kind of giving him the side eye. Something's up here. I don't trust Colin. He's doing something. Something's not right. But, he sort of, let him go. And then he kind of looked back and the guy's kind of following him, just kind of trying to be, not obvious. And he ducks down in the cubicle and he I can imagine Colin Powell, this great war hero and this, amazing general and now Secretary of the State, buzzing by your cubicle kind of in a crawl, sprint kind of stature. What that might have looked like for anybody that was working for, the office at the time. But he somehow finds his way to the stairwell, gets down the stairwell level, gets all the way to the parking garage, and he starts walking up this ramp. And he's walking up towards this booth. And these two guys who are responsible for checking in all of the cars as they come in, the rush is over, right? The morning, rush is over because everybody's come to the office and taken, gone on to their work. And, now their days are fairly, mundane and routine. And here comes, Secretary of State, General Colin Powell walking up the ramp towards them. And, you can imagine these guys are freaking, right? Like, oh my God, what did we miss the call to get his car, his limo or whatever, and he walks up and he's like, hey guys, how's it going? And they're like, good. And he said, I just, thought I'd come down and see how things are going down here, and of course they're like, what is going on? This does not make any sense. And he's like, what? Just how are we treating you down here? You like the job? How long you been here? And he wanted to know their names and their family, and they're making small talk. He's getting to know them, and then he said, "I got a question for you." These guys are starting, sweat it a little bit. They're getting a little worried. How do you decide who gets their car and when? These guys kind of look at each other like, should we tell them? Should we tell them? He said, well, sir, you'll always get your car. You will always be priority number one. And he's like, I get that. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's, the sort of the perks of the job, I suppose. But, what about everybody else? You're talking about thousands of cars. And this isn't a parking facility that stacks the cars. So it's not, it's not an easy situation to maneuver these things around this parking garage. But however they do it, these people have a system and an approach. And he was kind of curious about who gets their car first when they leave. And the one guy tells the other guy, well, you might as well tell him. Well, sir, the reality is that we give the car to the, we get people's cars are prioritized based on how they treat us when they come in the morning. He's like, really? He said, yes. He said, most people just look straight ahead, never even pay attention. They show us the badge. They want to get on with their day. Other people roll down their window. They say good morning. They smile. They make eye contact. Maybe even ask about our families or our kids like you are here now. Those people get their cars a lot faster. He had a big old smile and he said, I really appreciate that. And he said, one of the things that he went back to, and I'm going to read this specifically from something that he wrote, but he said, at my next staff meeting, I shared this story with my senior leaders. And he said, and I quote, you can never err by treating everyone in the building with respect, thoughtfulness, and a kind word. I told them, every one of our employees is an essential employee. Every one of them wants to be viewed that way. And if you treat them that way, they will view you that way. They will not let you down or let you fail. They will accomplish whatever you have to put in front of them. And his telling of that story, he told several other great stories, but that one stuck out because it's such an important reminder for us all, whether you're in a leadership role or whether you're trying to get to that leadership role. Everybody pays attention to how you treat them. And if you're kind and you're courteous and you acknowledge them and you recognize them and you take 3 seconds out of your day just to say hello, to make eye contact, to let them know you see them, you make a huge, huge difference in their world. In fact, if you do it regularly and you do it often enough, you'll train them to do the same, not just with you, but with other people that they encounter. And as a leader, that's good for how you build morale, how you build employee engagement, how they're going to, handle your prospects and your customers. Those things are so essential and so critical. And so I wanted to share this video, and it took me a little bit to get it done because I processed the passing of Colin Powell this week due to COVID. I was shocked and I was disappointed because here's an American hero. Regardless of your political affiliation or opinions, this guy gave it all for the country. And when he was called upon to do the service of the country again as Secretary of State, he worked his tail off to do the best job he possibly could in some very difficult circumstances following 9/11. And, whether you agreed with him or didn't agree with him, the one thing I think you can agree with is that a guy like that understands and appreciates the people that know how to treat other people well is an example of leadership. And so I just wanted to share that today because it's really been quite important to me as this week has gone on and a few days have gone since his passing. It's just been in my mind and it was worth sharing. And that story is one that I think that you can look it up on the internet. There's variations of it. There's ones that he has retold. There's probably some videos out there that you can find it verbatim. I didn't do it justice, but I will tell you, it left an indelible mark on me and how I go about handling, my responsibilities as a leader. And I hope maybe it'll give you some consideration about how you handle yours. Whether you're in a management position, whether you own your own company, or whether you're just trying to do the best possible job as an employee, we all have the ability to make a difference, and it all comes down to how we treat people. Something to think about. Until next time, my friends, ripple on.
I hope you go broke and your iPhone breaks and your ex shows up at your next first date and your car gets towed so you show up late.